the warrior of the wasteland, the Ayatollah of rock and roller.
I am gravely disappointed. Again, you have made me unleash my dogs of war.
Wake up! Wake up,
Still my dog of war. I understand your pain, but we do it my way.
Hit it!
Disco is not dead. Disco is life.
Good evening. This is a Rougue Chat. I woke up and was bored, and I convinced Varen to come with me and fire up a chat. How you doing tonight?
Doing great.
Well, that's good.
How about you?
I'm doing all right. Yeah, just kind of bored. It's one of those, sometimes you wake up. You ever have that? You wake up and you're just in a great mood for no reason, or you wake up and you're grumpy as hell for no reason. Today I woke up and I was bored.
We do live in Washington, so that's pretty normal. You look outside and you're immediately depressed.
It was nice today. It was probably in the 70s. I don't know. I went to sleep, but it was sunny and warm out. So it wasn't bad today. I think it's supposed to start raining again later in the week, but that's normal.
Got to keep with the stereotype.
Well, and that's why Washington is green, because all the rain.
Part of Washington.
Well, yeah, sorry, Western Washington is green.
It's easy to forget the other part exists. I know.
Yeah, Eastern Washington is kind of brown. But, yeah, we, don't really have any set topic or anything. Just fired up a chat. Thought we'd hang out if anybody's up, to chat. One thing I was going to bring up to start is, let me call up there, the JSD Supply. They were served with a cease and desist by the ATF, and it appeared that they were enforcing their arbitrary rule changes, which have not gone into effect yet, which technically they can't do because only Congress can make law, and they are making de facto law by changing the rules. So they are basically shut down. The only thing they can sell are T-shirts right now, and they are selling T-shirts to raise money to help fight this. They have filed a lawsuit to for an injunction to against the ATF. So hopefully the court will rule in their favor and stop that. But for now, all they can do is sell these shirts and hopefully raise some money. I bought a couple, and I'll be giving them away after I receive them as future giveaways. So if anybody is inclined to help support them, that's one way you can.
I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Seeing as they no longer sell gun accessories or guns or parts of guns or gun precursors, they don't sell any of that. They just sell T-shirts.
Yep.
We could drop the link in the chat. Am I wrong?
Well, how about I'll just
Technically.
point here because YouTube bots might not understand.
Yeah, they haven't taken it off the blacklist yet.
Yeah. But so jsdsupply.com. There is a link in the description, though, for their website. So hopefully that's all right. And there's also a link for the Discord. The overnight Discord. It's just kind of a place to hang out and chit chat, share memes, pictures, talk about guns, talk about food, just whatever, you know.
Best way to contact us, too.
It is. If you've got, here, why don't I get the banner going? So, you know, you can message us in the Discord or the email untacticalfoss.com for comments, suggestions, or Gorn. So gun pictures, knife pictures, whatever. Just within reason pictures, we'll say. You know, cars, can be anything. And it's free to join.
Yeah, it's open for anyone that wants to come. Unless you already came and we already kicked you out. Then you're not welcome to come.
Yeah, unfortunately there are some rules we have to follow because the Discord implemented some new rules which are stricter, a lot stricter than they were before. And they'll look at what you're doing on the platform. They'll
And
also
off.
look at what you're doing off the platform, which is bullshit, in my opinion. But it's their platform, and we're
So, for
using
example, if we had Alex Jones join the server, if Discord wanted to, they could delete the whole server just because he's in there.
yeah.
It's crazy.
So there are some limits which we have to follow, but for the most part, you know, it's just like
Common
hanging
courtesy
out.
stuff.
Yeah, it's just like hanging out, talking to friends.
Don't do
Yeah.
stuff that would get you kicked out of my living room, basically, if you came over for a party.
I'm gonna grab my water, so excuse me for just a second.
Let's see. We got 2 people out there at the moment. We got DJ Play Nice. We got Wesley Foster. He came here from gun websites to an Instagram show.
So it looks like DJ's going to jump in just a bit. I hope I wasn't corking him. I thought he was on earlier.
Gun websites?
Yeah.
He was still on last I checked. Yes, he's still live.
Oh, I didn't realize that. If you
He
see the
just
few
ended.
webs, I apologize. And if he jumps in over here, I'll apologize to him. Again, I didn't realize it. I didn't see him. I changed lanes without looking. That was my fault.
You pushed G-Webs into the barrier.
Pushed him in the ditch. I don't think so. I would be more like a Yugo on the road, and then he's like an 18-wheeler tractor trailer. So I don't think I'm pushing him anywhere. But
I got an idea.
yes, sir.
We can play Guess This Sound for the audience. Let's see who can guess this sound.
I know that sound. I know that sound very well.
Who can guess that sound?
I can hear it and I can smell it.
I got to imagine if they're up this late, they know that sound. Right?
Yeah.
Yep, that's it.
DJ got it. I still miss my Zippos. I'll probably, after, we were talking yesterday and I was looking at them online, I'll probably I want another brass one. So I miss mine.
Yeah, that's what this one is. Solid brass.
Yeah, because the one I gave away, because I had a brass and I had a chrome one. And the brass one I gave away, I had actually etched my wife and my initials in them back when we were still dating. And I should have kept that one. But I had a buddy that was heading out overseas to the Middle East. And so gave it to him as a present and a good luck charm. And it kind of worked because he made it back safe.
That's good. Let's see.
How's it going?
Oops.
How's it going,
The
DJ?
microphone I just hit.
It's going well. Good
DJ,
morning,
can you guess
gentlemen.
this noise?
Which one?
Can you guess this noise?
Well, it sounds like a bolt action, but I couldn't tell you which one. Oh, wait, no. Fred at 92.
Foss, you got a guess?
I would have gone one more time. Is it a Garen?
1911. You were close, though. You know me.
Yes.
Like it's a Garand or 1911 or something.
DJ, but yeah, we're, just kind of hanging out. It's an onboard chat. What are you up to tonight?
Being awake, I slept a glorious 13 straight hours on, well, I guess Sunday, because it's my Monday right now. Yeah.
I did the exact same thing.
Right on. It's good to catch up when we can, eh?
Yeah.
I slept probably like 6 hours. I don't know. Probably fell asleep about 3 o'clock. Got
it
up
start
about
off as
9.
Did it start off as a nap, or is that intentionally your sleep period on Sunday?
Well, that was sleep period, but I went to bed at like 1, but then was screwing around on my phone, which isn't good when you're trying to sleep. So that's usually what I'll do. I'll go lay down and then end up just farting around on my phone or tablet. But I don't have anything until almost 24 hours, so it's not a big deal.
I have always tried to treat my bedroom as simply that, a place with the bed in it, and pretty much the only thing you do there is sleep. I mean, besides recreational activities on occasion, right?
That's, yeah, and like I don't have a TV in my bedroom. I haven't since I was a kid, since high school, just kind of because of that. And then, but I'll listen to my tablet. I'll listen to some
Music.
long form. Now, usually chats or something. But I used to listen to music, but I don't get good reception. And I won't do like Spotify or those types. But I need something to kind of turn my brain off. Otherwise, it'll keep firing and it'll keep me awake.
Yeah, I do radio.
Yeah, that was nice when I could get reception. I'd listen to, because I'm old, so I listen to oldies if you could find them, but those stations are, most of them are long gone. There was a really good oldie station, local, where you got good reception, and it wasn't one of the stupid iHeartRadio ones. It wasn't one they bought, so it wasn't the same goddamn songs every day.
Yeah, they just use a playlist on random.
Yeah, so it was a good variety of older stuff. But when I traded my car in, I had it set on my radio, and I don't know what the actual station number was, and I cannot find it. It disappeared. Maybe it was just it was the ghost in my machine.
No, you were their last viewer. When you stopped listening, they went under.
Could be, but it was a really good station. I wish I would have paid more attention to numbers. I couldn't even tell you the classic rock one that I listened to. I think it's 100.3. I used to like the 102.5 KZOK until iHeartRadio bought them out, and it's the same songs every day.
Yeah, the one I used to listen to is owned by DuckDuckGo now.
See, I'm not fond of any of that sort of thing, and there are fewer and fewer companies, media companies out there, because they are sucking up all the independent radio stations. As a matter of fact, there are damn few left in my market here, and it used to be saturated with independents. And now, NRG Media, for instance, companies like that, they just grab them up as the mom and pops as they're on their way out. Harder and harder for an independent station to be able to support themselves.
Like iHeart, Clear Radio One. They're buying up all the stations, and they're basically losing their flavor. Where
absolutely agree with that.
They're all the same. It's all the same mush.
And am I crazy? Or they're, like when they take a viewer or a listener phone call, those are pre-recorded, right?
A lot of them are.
They sound all cut up and edited.
Some of the like morning shows will do that, where they'll edit the questions and already have their answers ready. There is a local station that's 100 years old. I think it's either beginning of this year or end of last year hit its 100-year birthday, and it's a classic rock with a touch of oldies, and it's pretty good, but they're a little bit repetitive, where you hear the same songs a little bit too much, I think. But it's nice that it's it's a local owned station. Let me look out here. Wesley Foster says he's looking forward to Florida Gun Show video from this weekend, St. Petersburg location. He's in Massachusetts. Few gun shows and no choices, dreaming of South Dakota and driving the USA.
You and me both.
I don't often dream of South Dakota. It's maybe too close to me. It's the state just right above me.
If you lived in Massachusetts, maybe.
Hard for me to imagine anything that I would look forward to about the Great Plains having come from here, for sure.
I don't know. I've been around the Northwest, all the states around the Northwest. Oregon, California, Idaho, Montana. Not sure if I touched Wyoming, the northwest corner of Wyoming. And then Minnesota. And I think those are the only states that I've been to.
So no East Coast?
Nope, have not been out to the East Coast. I've been out east. I've been to Japan, Guam, Samoa, and Canada. I think that's about it. That's everywhere I've been.
Having international travel in your past is definitely setting you apart from almost everyone that I know. I have very little in my experience, and that's not something a lot of Americans seem to get to be able to do. I mean, if you're going to count North America itself, I suppose, dip into Mexico if you have to live in on the west side of the United States, or Canada if you're in the northern stretches. Having been to both, I've got North America knocked, but that's the only continent I can claim.
Yeah, I'll say international travel is a lot better now than it was in the 70s, because the jet engines are a lot better, so it doesn't take as long to get from here to there. Because it used to be 8 hours to Hawaii and then 8 hours to Samoa, and now I think it's six to Hawaii and then 6 to Samoa. I don't remember exactly how long it was last time we went. And then like Japan is, I think it's 10 hours there and then 8 hours back because of the jet stream.
Are you saying like literally a tailwind on the way back?
Yeah.
I've never thought about that.
There's like a 2-hour difference.
I thought that was going to be locked in on changing of time zones as you went back towards the east. But wow, jet stream giving you a tailwind. That's a new one on me, man. I have to grab that one and use it.
Just want to say hello to Burnaby Sanchez. How's it going? Wesley Foster saying that Massachusetts will not let us touch a gun in the gun shop without a permit. Wow, you can't even look at them. I didn't realize they were. I knew they were strict, but I didn't realize it was that strict.
Yikes.
The question I would ask is, does that make you feel safer? Do you feel safer because of that? Probably not.
Can either one of you guys think of another item available in a retail setting where you cannot touch it before purchase?
Porn? I don't know.
Well, you can touch that for sure.
Sorry, you can't touch yourself while looking at porn.
Food.
Ill advised.
Yeah.
You can't like grab a Big Mac, take a look at it and be like, yeah, I'll take this.
Well, some places you can't get samples though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alone. Can I touch all this money before I get it?
Creative solutions to the question. Thanks, Baron.
Yeah, well, that kind of brings up the Ninth Circuit decision that just came down. The 18-year-olds should be able to buy firearms. They should not be prohibited. That was the Jones versus Bonta, the three judge ruling in the Ninth Circuit. So it'll probably go en banc. So it'll go to more judges, and then since the Ninth Circuit's leans left, it might get overturned, and then it'll have to work its way up the food chain.
From one conundrum to another. First, things that you should be able to at least hold in your hand before you have to throw down money on. And then another one, the age differences in anything, and we're speaking specifically of firearms in this one. One of the ways that in previous chats and conversations that I've had people use that as a way to think about things and internalize them as much as possible and see a disparity in, I guess, just to briefly say, common sense. The example that I've used in the past is, how can you expect someone who can join the military at age 18 to leave for service, be able to have, to be possessed of, firearms and to use them, and then perhaps return after some shortened enlistment, for instance, and not be able to possess them legally? Another part of that, before I pass it back to either one of you, is I've also included examples of, suppose you are, we'll go with a male head of household. Suppose you're a male head of household and you leave your spouse and your children and they're underage. How is it that they, in your absence, are to provide for their protection by the use of firearms? Not many people are willing to bite completely on that and not let it go.
Well, I agree with you that, if an 18-year-old is an adult, then they are due all their rights and privileges of adulthood. And then if they are not allowed the privileges, all the privileges of an adult, then they should not be considered an adult. That goes for gun rights, that goes for voting rights, that goes for military service.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Absolutely. I also have trouble, not to maybe the same degree, but that's my own, particular twitch on that for things like the ability to purchase tobacco or alcohol as well. 18 seems a pretty solid year. The termination of the expectation that you'll be in public school to that point. So many other things come to you by way of your 18th birthday. Why full rights aren't established at that point, I'm not digging too much. What about you guys?
I might even go lower. I'd say 16. You can drive a car.
I don't. I wouldn't. I wouldn't go 16. And these are kind of arbitrary numbers almost. You can, I'm not a developmental psychologist, but, the human brain develops at different rates for different people. So some people will be more mature and more adult-like earlier than others. So where you draw that number, I think would have to be higher, because the majority of people reach that maturity later. I know there are some out there that say 25, because your brain basically stops developing around 25. I don't know. I've always thought I would be fine with like curfew. No one under 35 can be out at night. Curfew, but that's just me.
Are you serious with that, boss?
No.
Okay, then. I thought that was an interjection of humor, man, but I didn't hear I didn't hear that laugh behind it, so I wanted to make sure. Yeah, and at age 16, I would have struggled probably to have allowed someone older than I to suggest that I wasn't able to accept the responsibilities of full adulthood at 16. But in retrospect, even a couple of years later, I probably would have disagreed with myself easily on that point. It is hard, I certainly, just a moment, I certainly wouldn't want there to be, like, not finding the right word for here, but like an adjudication of whether or not you have a fitness at a certain age to become an adult. I do like there being a set age for those sort of things, though we're running into some problems in establishing which privileges you should be afforded.
I think you would have to go with the set age. You can't have a test. That the logistics of trying to do that, I don't think would work.
How about this? How about I fight for 16? I'll settle for 18.
Well,
if you fight for 18, they're going to settle you at 21.
Well, there have been a couple times a push by certain people to lower the voting age to 16. Which
Same people want to raise the age for rifles to 21.
Yes. I was trying not to dip into the left and right and all that stuff. But yeah, that's kind of.
So I'll give them the right to vote at 16 if you can buy a AR-15 at 16. How's that for a trade?
Yeah, I don't think they'll go for that though.
Yeah.
Let me go back up. There's been a few more comments. Wesley Foster said, I am a gun. Oh, whoops. Yeah, no, I went too far. Yep, overshot it. Overshot the landing. There we go. That's the one I'm about to click on. I have a national security file from working for the Air Force. I have a do not contact order in the New York FBI National Security section for being a victim of crime against the Air Force. And I'm going to I'll star that one and maybe come back to it in just a bit. Burnby says, remember when 18 was the illegal age to drink? Well, if you go back far enough, there was no legal age to drink.
Yep. Used to give your kids light beer for breakfast because the water wasn't safe to drink.
And Wesley Foster was saying it was signed by Clinton. I am not loyal to the Democrat Party, boss of Massachusetts. There are only 2 Republicans in the state house. In case one dies, they will still classify it as a 2-party state. That's interesting.
For a moment, just back to that legal drinking age, I think it was sometime in the 80s that became a national standard, because I can remember examples from both of my parents, having grown up in different states. One of them, they were legal to drink before they graduated high school, and the other was able to simply move across the state border to be able to do so. And I don't know if I feel like I missed out necessarily, by being subject to that. I do believe it was mid 80s where that became a standard to 21.
Well,
that's
for
Go ahead.
For military, it was only like 15, 20 years ago that on base 18-year-olds could drink.
Well, I didn't know that was now exempt.
Yeah. Yeah, they changed. I can't remember how long ago. It was like 15, 20 years ago that it changed. Burnaby is saying 1984, if he remembers correctly. That's back around, it was the mid-'80s when Washington changed their cutoff time for alcohol from, it used to be 4 to 6, and in the mid-'80s they changed it to 2 to 6. You can't sell alcohol. Yeah, I know there's some states that are 24 hours, but for Washington, there's that 4-hour period you can't sell alcohol.
I had a gas station refuse to sell me beer at 601.
Well, they do have the right.
Yeah, they said there was no good reason to sell me beer this early. It's like, I work night shift. I'm in uniform. I'm going to go eat dinner, and I wanted a beer with my meal, but I guess I'm not getting it from you.
Yeah, well, when I was working at a grocery store, we'd get people going fishing. So they'd come in, stop in on their way to go out. They'd, pick up a case of beer.
Yeah, I hate that law. They can tell if you're drunk. If you're drunk, they don't have to sell you anything. I think they should just sell 24 hours a day. That's me.
Yeah.
This 4-hour sober up period. Yeah.
I understand that sentiment.
But I don't drink anymore, so.
Gunmetal Guy USA. It's out there.
I grew up in a state in the Midwest. Well, I grew up in Iowa for the most part, and Iowa had state liquor stores. Like, liquor was carried at state liquor stores.
That's the way Washington was up until a couple years ago.
I always thought that it'd be an interesting arrangement, and Barron making that rip on 6 o'clock as being a time. Yeah, if it wasn't open, it didn't happen, and package wasn't available from those with liquor licenses either. They couldn't sell liquor package. So that was kind of a strange thing. I didn't really understand it, and can't pretend that I understand it even today. But I remember being subject to that.
Yeah, up till a few years ago, Washington was the same way. We had state liquor stores. You could still buy wine and beer at the grocery store, but liquor had to be from the state. And then there was a big push by Costco and some other large retailers to do away with that, and they did. So now you can buy liquor at anywhere that sells it. And then the state leased out their liquor stores. Or sold them off, and then there that was shortly after that is about when weed was legalized. So they leased some of those stores to people who wanted to sell weed because that's where you would have to. And then the state opened it up to anybody could open a shop and kind of screwed those people over that were overpaying for the old liquor stores.
How long till I can get weed at Costco, you think? Buy it in bulk.
I don't know. I don't know if they will ever, because there's still a problem with it being illegal nationally, so that creates problems for states, for like Washington State, the dispensaries, which I guess you call them weed shops. Basically, they can only deal in cash because banks won't deal with them because it's illegal federally. So there's a lot of cash on hand, which creates a lot of problems for everybody involved. There's kind of been a push in the last few years to make it so the banks can deal with weed shops, but I haven't really heard in a while if that's gone anywhere.
Yeah, there's a bunch of people that actually do security moving the cash for those companies now. Pretty crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a lot of stuff the state had to do to accommodate that, which I can't talk about. But it's I'm not into it, but it shouldn't. I don't know if I want to get into it. The whole reason why it was,
you want me to step in that one for you?
Step lightly. I just don't want to get too far down that.
They outlawed it to criminalize a certain group of people, individuals that were fans of that. We'll put it that way.
Yeah, and it's
just another charge that they can add on when they hassle you.
I don't care if somebody smokes weed or really, I don't care what any drug anybody does. Just stay home. Leave me out of it. It's annoying when you go out and you've got a tweaker who's rolling pretty hard and you have to deal with that. And they can't really deal with themselves because they're tweaking so hard.
Yeah, all you want is your Baconator from Wendy's. And they're like freaking out, calling you a demon.
Well, I don't know if you've ever watched them, it's like meth will fire all the synapses in your brain. So you'll see them, tweaking. They'll twitch and they'll move and they can't do anything because they can't stop moving. They can't pick anything up. They can barely walk or function. Do that at home. You do that at home, I don't care. If you can meet your responsibilities and you do it at home, I don't care what you do. Gunmetal Guy USA says he's teased by a Total Wine and more every time he takes a step outside. It's a rock's throw across the street. It helps that it's closed at this hour as well. For those who don't know, Total Wine is a huge wine shop. It's kind of like I don't know, the one I've been to, the one that's around here once, went in just to kind of check it out, and it's huge. It's like a grocery store with wine, beer, and I think they had sodas. some sodas. That's what I went in for, was to see, because I had looked up online. I was looking for a root beer, and some of the Total Wines had said they had the root beer. So I went in looking. I took my son in, which, got some looks. So I don't know if he was supposed to be there. I didn't see any signs that said 18 or over. So we went in, walked around, and then left. I didn't find anything. And Gunmetal Guy says strong fences make for good neighbors. Yes, they do. And Bernie saying Costco for wine. That's the first analogy that came to mind, was Costco. Or he goes to Costco for wine, because Costco has a lot of wine.
I could spend all day at a Costco.
I don't go as much as I used to, even though I live like 2 miles from the Costco. Part of it's my schedule. And I like to go every now and again just to look and see what they have. They change up their stuff quarterly. So if there's something that you're going and buying and then it disappears, it's because they change things up. I got hired by them years ago, went through the orientation, and that was one of the things that they talked about, how some customers will come in, and load up and then not come in for a while, and they'll come back and stuff is different. Well, it's because the quarterly change happened where some stuff disappeared and new stuff came in. I only went through the orientation. So I realized after listening to their stuff, and then the way the pay stuff, the progression for pay is, that it would take me years to get back to what I was already making. So I decided to stay where I was. So I worked for Costco for, I forget how long the orientation was, but I made $50 from Costco, which I felt bad for quitting. So I didn't even go and pick up my check, but they mailed it to me.
I picked up a check after quitting on the second day at a job. You should have seen the look on the guy's face when he cut it for me. He was pretty mad.
I can understand. Well, working on night crews at grocery stores, that was common. Half the people wouldn't come back for a second day just because they can't handle the hours. It doesn't seem like it'd be that hard, but a lot of people just cannot take that. And then out of the 50% that come back, 50% don't make it 2 weeks. They'll quit within the first week. And then out of those 50 that are left, there'll be a few more that quit, and then you might end up with one that's there for a little while, but then, they don't stay long. It's hard to find good people that want to stay. For the most part, the people who will work the graveyard shifts, and I'm one of them, so I'm not speaking about everybody, but they're either on drugs or drunks, because they're the people that are up at night.
He's talking about me.
They're not always reliable.
Careful now.
And like I said, I'm not talking about everybody. There are some really good people that work nights because that's, for whatever reason, whether that's what fits their schedule or they just like being up at nights. But there's a lot of people that work nights that are not very good workers.
When I was a young undergrad, one of the positions that I found in doing security work was, over the course from a Friday evening until a Sunday morning, 36 hours, divided and chopped into 3 shifts. And that was one of the ways I was able to maintain 18-hour semesters and a full-time job. But I do not believe I'd be able to, or even interested in doing something by that same arrangement anymore.
Gunmetal guy saying, "Hey, I'm currently on the graveyard shift as we speak, and I don't resemble that character you speak of, at least anymore." I was kind of that guy when I was younger, kind of irresponsible, didn't really know. I was drifting somewhat aimlessly, didn't know what I wanted to do, where I wanted to be. So, drifted around, worked graveyard because you can usually find a job working graveyard because nobody wants to do it. And if you stick around, you'll make more money, whether it's the late night premium that you can get, for working graveyard, or just that nobody else sticks around. So you move up the chain.
I do remember wishing that there was a shift differential that had been made available, because in security work itself, as you might imagine, there's usually a lot more that you're trying to secure or keep people from getting into or bothering with in those wee morning hours. And so the fact that I didn't get an extra buck an hour, I was cheesed off at the time.
Wesley Foster is talking about the Costco hot dogs and the giant rotisserie chickens. They're good. And the Costco hot dogs, they're the same price they've always been. It's a loss leader for them, but people like it and it brings people in. So they're still making money.
Have you tried their pizza?
I think I have once. I don't tend to get stuff from the Costco just because the lines are so long. I don't want to wait. But I think we did once get a pizza slice.
So are there really people who will go to a Costco, to which I have to admit I have never been, just to eat hot dogs?
Yep.
Wow.
It was kind of nice for a while. The Home Depot, they sold hot dogs outside. I don't think they did that for very long.
Did Lowe's start selling like corn dogs right after that happened?
What's that?
Did Lowe's start selling corn dogs at their places right after that happened?
I don't think so.
Now, I would treat that as destination dining. To me, there are a few things better than a good corn dog, and the corn dogs are better when they're like cheaper, in my estimation. Don't hate.
Gunmetal guy saying, hit the nail on the head, and every sense of outlasted everyone, piggybacked on top of that, being around for raises. Plus, he has an aversion to nonsense of today's bustling society.
Yeah, that's a big one for me.
You deal with a lot less of the BS that the day shift has to, just within the company, whatever company, all the gossip and garbage. And, if you're working nights, it's usually a smaller crew. So you can be hopefully, a little tighter knit and there's less garbage to deal with.
Yeah. Like if you're a mall security guard during the day versus night, completely different job.
I don't know. You working security, you could probably get people to bring you Whoppers or something like that if they like you.
I did have that happen.
Really?
I'm right in the garbage. I was convinced she was trying to poison me.
She was going to sex traffic you.
She was very friendly.
1 minute you're eating a Whopper, next one you're in a shipping container somewhere.
It didn't work, though. I checked her ID every single night. She's like, you don't know me by now? I'm like, I guess not. Keep bringing me food.
Pink Panther's out there. Been working nights for 36 years. I hate people anymore, so it's better. Yeah, it was a lot easier when I was younger. It's it's a little tougher now than it was before. When you're in your 20s, you stay up all night, work all night, then stay up all day, drink all day, and then go to work. you know, rinse, lather, and repeat. And you can handle it. There's no way I could do that now. Gun Metal Guy USA saying, unfortunately, I had a few bring me dinner overnight. I was smart enough to throw all of them away, seeing how some of them were Creole ladies. I'll leave the explanation up to you. Hey, there's G Webs. Sorry, hey, I just want to say I didn't realize you were. I would have held off a little while. I didn't realize I was stepping on your chat. I'll send you a link, G Webs. So
I'm trying to figure out the Creole lady thing. Any guesses?
I don't know, Cajun witch.
Yeah, I was gonna go with voodoo, something like that. Voodoo or hoodoo.
Boop. There we go.
Yeah, worst job I ever had. Shift wise, I was working 7/12s in a row. And then 7/12s, no break. It was insane.
Wow.
I've
made a lot of overtime.
I've done that, but that was voluntary. When I was working at the shipyard, I worked, I think it was 30 days straight, just because I didn't have anything else to do. And then, you know, nobody's really there on the weekends, so you don't do as much.
Yeah, they had a bunch of people quit, and they asked me if I wanted the hours.
Good evening, G Webs. How's it going?
Good evening. What's the secret knock to get in here?
That's close enough. No, I just woke up, was kind of bored, so it needle Baron.
DJ's like, oh, there's another live chat that's good. I'm just gonna ditch out of this one and not say nothing. So what, you've been over here for like an hour? And I've been over there like basically watching my internet not work live.
Bernie was saying he worked night shift for Penske Logistics when he was younger. Pink Panther's saying we used to get off at 5:30, open the bars, drink till 2 p.m., sleep, go back at 9. Yep,
there you go.
I went one time. We got off work, bought a couple cases of beer, and then ended up down there was one of the elementary schools that had 8-foot basketball hoops. So we went down there and we're slam dunking on that until the principal came out and said, hey, we're about to go to recess. Can you guys go somewhere else for a little while? He was going to let us come back when they went back in, but we were pretty hammered. So it's like, oh no, that's all right. We'll take off. Then we went, I think we played tennis badly. It was also funny because one of the guys, it was 2 of us from the night crew and then 2 of the guys from the day crew. And the guy in the night crew, the next day, he's like, hey man, your buddies drink pretty hard. I'm like, I thought they were your buddies. we I don't know, we had made buddies, I guess.
I always enjoyed working. One of the aspects I enjoyed about working at bars and clubs was just because the doors are closed didn't mean that our party stopped. And so that whole, locking up the doors, hanging out, and sometimes going until dawn and then stumbling out ourselves into the light, I always found to be a great advantage. Almost always, I should have said.
Gunmetal guy saying, Would you like me to tell you the reason? Not sure if you get your chat taken down. I don't know.
We just won't mention it on the air. You can delete the message. How about that?
But Wester Fossley's saying he goes to Costco to eat the $1.50 hot dog with a Coke. That's the thing. It's a $1.50 for a hot dog and a Coke, and a drink. Oh, Burnaby's turning in. Have a good night, Burnaby.
So, how long are you going with this show?
I don't know, just till we get tired of talking.
I can remember times in the 80s, 7-Eleven, the convenience store chain, they would run their hot dogs on special for 50 cents. My brother and I would mob down there. And the bonus was that they had, well, I don't know how big a bonus it was, pump cheese and chili. So on a couple of bucks, you could go and gorge yourself at one of those standing tables. And of course, they had the large fountain drinks as well. So just a couple of dollars and you get fat and happy.
Was that the old crinkly day old hot dogs?
Memory does not allow me to recall.
Oh, dear God. No thanks. Yeah.
Yeah. All righty.
Moving on.
Oh,
what were we talking about? 7-Eleven?
I don't know.
Yeah, I used to eat at an AM PM all the time. That was next to my place.
There's a fried chicken in the 7-Elevens in Japan, which I love. We don't have, and it's a little bit different because the breading's different. And there's a little hint of ginger in it. But every time I would go, would always hit 7-Eleven a few times so I could get the chicken. Yeah, he's saying, "Told you."
Yeah, that was worse than I expected.
What'd I miss? Or wait, I probably shouldn't ask. Okay. So like one of my favorite fast food, or not fast food, but quick store things. Rented Lips, textured vegetable protein burritos, TVP burritos. There were some really good ones out there back in the day. What, Foss, you don't approve of the extra squidge?
Well, TVP is basically soy.
I'm not opposed. I certainly wasn't opposed at 99 cents for a jumbo.
I am like the Boca burgers. I like the Boca burgers. And those are soy burgers. But for the most part, because which brand is it? Not Mountain House, but the other freeze-dried. One of the freeze-dried brands. They're cheaper because they supplement with TVP as a protein.
And Boga Burgers, I'm right there with you. I've enjoyed those. And Morningstar Farms had a couple of varieties that I liked as well. Nice just if for nothing else, for variety in your sandwiching.
Well, the Morningstar Farms, their corn dogs weren't bad. I did like those. I got them just to try them, and they were pretty good. The chicken nuggets, I think those were okay. They're soy nuggets. Those were all right. Their bacon was the box would have tasted better than the bacon.
I kind of felt that way about their nuggets. As a matter of fact, the woman that I was with at the time, we called them sawdust nuggets.
I might be misremembering because this is probably more than 20 years ago since I tried them.
That's about the right time frame for me too.
I know the corn dogs I thought were pretty good. And I know the bacon was god awful. So the nuggets I'm not sure now.
Okay, it's 2:30 in the morning Central. If corn dogs come up one more time, I'm gonna be in a world of hurt. I don't know where I could even score some at this hour.
We keep on some frozen ones.
Yep.
Just part because of my son. And if you get the ones from Costco, they're bigger than the ones same brand than you'll get at the grocery store.
Is that a good thing?
Yes. More stuff, more good. Gunmetal
Is
guy
it
uses
girth or length?
girth.
You like a girthy corn dog?
Yes. Fits tighter.
You can double the layer of corn and make it bigger looking, and it's just got more corn. Is that the equivalent?
No, the hot dog in it is larger, so it's
Now,
more filling.
The most heinous example, both because of length and width, Las Vegas on the Strip, Circus, slots of fun. The 1 pound hot dogs for $1. Oh my God. I don't think they still have them anymore. They were an abomination then,
That's
and they would be now.
1
lot of
pound
pig
hot
lips.
dog?
1 pound hot dog on a bun for $1.
Oh
It was
my
ridiculous.
God.
I tried. It was like eating a bologna, like a chub of bologna on a bun. It was ridiculous. It was grotesque.
I can't finish.
Is that what
my
happened to
chub.
people that cheat at the casino? They grind them up and make them into those?
Oh no.
I've never been to Vegas. I've been to Reno, but not Vegas.
How does that happen?
Well, you start out by going to Reno, and then you never go to Vegas.
What occasion took you to Reno?
Just young and friends wanted to go, and we were living in Eastern Washington, so it was forget if it was an 8-hour or 12-hour drive. So we drove down to Reno a couple times. Yeah, basically broke even. Just I would take whatever money I was gambling with. That's all I gambled with, and when I would double what I started with, I would put the original amount away and not touch it again. So then just gamble with whatever extra I had made. Yeah, and you could sit down if you want at the video poker and play that for a couple hours and just a couple bucks, get free drinks. And that was a long time ago, so I don't know if it's changed, and then we would go to the Pepper Mill, which had a single zero roulette table. Do you guys have Wesley Foster's asking, do you have mandatory shutdown at 1 a.m. for your bars? 2 a.m. 2 o'clock's the shutdown. And most of the bars will shut down 15 minutes early just to make sure they get everybody out.
There was a differential between states on opposite sides of the Missouri River here. Nebraska was 1 and Iowa was 2 a.m. and now both states are at 2 a.m. So the whole closing out clubs on the Nebraska side and then running across the river for that last hour, that was a regular thing.
Is there any state that doesn't have that type of thing? They're just open 24/7.
Probably Nevada.
Yeah.
Like Vegas. And there is some other states, because we would get people from other states at night that wouldn't realize there was a cutoff. They would say, "Oh, we're from whatever state." I don't remember where. Gunmetal Guy USA saying, here in Texas State Fair, you can buy a gigantic fried turkey leg, about the size of a good hatchet. I've seen them. I've never had one. So I think the Safeco, which is now T-Mobile Field, where the Mariners play, I think they used to have it. Not sure if they still do.
God, food is so expensive there.
It is.
It's
But
insane.
the best cheeseburger I ever had was there up in the Terrace Club. They used to sell an American. God, it wasn't Wagyu. It's the other one. The other expensive beef. I can't think of what it is right now. But so it was kind of like Wagyu, a Wagyu burger. And it was the American version because you can't have it, can only be called whatever it was if it came from Japan. But those were really good, really expensive.
Kobe?
Yeah, American Kobe. American Kobe beef. Really, really good. And your boils out there? Yeah, it was Kobe. And then they had
the cows are massaged every single day. All they do is wake up and get massaged all day long.
something
get
like
relief,
that. Yeah,
get massaged again, get relief, get massaged again, get relief, and then eventually you make a steak out of that.
yeah. It was good. It was good. It was a lot. I can't remember how much it was. I'm thinking at the time, this was 15 years ago, probably when they had it. It was probably, I'm thinking it was like $15. Which I've paid more at the Hard Rock Cafe in Japan, in Tokyo. I paid like $30. Doing the price conversion, I thought, I was getting a cheeseburger. I can't remember if I got the double. Might have been the double. And then I was going to add cheese and bacon, which was like 30 cents a piece. Not bad, but I converted it wrong. It was $3 a piece. And that was, I got a burger, fries, and a drink. It was like $30.
Very interesting chat comments out there tonight. It's good tips about working security with a mag light. Don't know if people saw that.
Let me. Where'd it go? There it goes. Overnight security tip for bars at closing time. It's a good mag light with good batteries to light up the ground to avoid stepping on very huge Jimmy hats.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, we weren't allowed to carry, I guess, what would be generically be called billy clubs. But having the D cell, was it like, it had to be more
The
than 6.
6D. The 6D, my dad had that. It had
There
a
you
6D mag light.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you could club somebody with that one. I remember that as a kid, back in the 70s. He works security at the shipyard, and he was a reserve officer, a police officer. And he had the huge mag light. I'll say I've had mini mag light is the only flashlight that has lasted for me at work. I've tried, I was trying different LED ones, and they just wouldn't last. They weren't durable. The mag light's the only one. And I switched to the LED mag light probably 10 years ago. And I just bought a stream light to try out. Kind of the more of a pen light form factor, but a little larger. So we'll see how that one goes. It's a little brighter than the mag light.
Yeah, the only time I've had trouble with mag light is like when you get a battery that corrodes. You just need to clean the contact points. Then it's good to go again.
Yeah, the only problem I really had was the older ones with the Krypton bulbs, when you drop them and it breaks the filament.
Yep.
So you got to keep extra bulbs. But overall, they are quality little flashlights.
The stream lights, if you baby them, they can last a while, and then they'll still wear out. But if you use them, they can't last. I wish they could because they're inexpensive-ish, but they're not that good.
That's disappointing. We'll see how it goes because I paid like $40 for it for the. I forget
Well,
what
maybe it's
model.
more rugged. I usually buy the $20 AAA, either 1 or 2 or 3, depending on which I'm buying. And like I say, I mean, I like them. I like the form factor. They're very little. Besides the battery, they're small, but the clicky always breaks at some point, and then that's why I pay $20 instead of 40 because I figure I'd rather have $20 wear out. But then they usually break some other way else.
That's the one thing that I don't care for are I got the ProTac 2A. Here, I'll look it up. I don't like the end cap clicky buttons. I prefer, the button on the side personally. I know it's not as tactical to have it on the side, but function wise, it's easier than having to hold it up, and click the bottom. But that's just me. And I also do not like any functions other than on and off. I don't want flashing lights. I don't need flashing lights. I don't need SOS. Nope. I don't need any of that.
No strobe? No strobe effect?
I don't need the strobe.
I like having the only thing I like having is a mode for task and use, like a big light and then a tiny light. So some of them have that option and I can tolerate it, but if it's some sort of like click, 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 some kind of garbage, then no. But if it's like one button or the other, or do this instead of that, then I'm okay with it. Because I'd like a task light, and then if it's not there, I don't care. But if it's there, I'm okay.
I don't mind, a bright and a low, as long as, like you're saying, you don't have to click around to get to it. But they
so how about
all that other stuff is useless as far as I'm concerned. But
so my experience, my preferences, and my opinions on lights are from like a million years of owning them back in the day when they were junky, and then now that they're good, going to places and doing stuff and having these conversations with people that own like really expensive ones for probably the era from like 2006 to 2012 or 13. And then I quit paying attention at all because it just was the repeat. It would just be like a loop, and I quit paying attention. So it might have changed a little bit since, but that's where my opinions come from. Where do you guys like use, camping, work use? Like where's the mechanics use theirs differently? Like plumbers and electricians and stuff all use theirs differently than, I don't know, like a camping person who basically never drops it ever. Like somebody who's camping, they're all like, "Oh, my lights rugged." I'm like, "Oh yeah, let's talk to a contractor who's constantly on the second floor."
But here's a picture of the one that I bought. It's kind of that pen light form factor, but larger. It's a little larger than I intended, but it's not a huge deal because it came with a sheath. Part of it, I went with something else. Is I dropped somehow my mag light doesn't have the flap over the top, and it fell out somehow. And I didn't like that it fell out. It's been, like I said, it's been a trooper and lasted a long time, but maybe time for something new. And I've always wanted to get a stream light. I'm kind of a flashlight junkie, where I don't buy as like I used to, but I would see something neat or something new and maybe buy it, just to play with it. Gunmetal Guy USA is asking, has anyone had Kobe steaks? Is it worth? trying at least once.
Never had it.
I have not. I would try it if I was out and somebody had it. I probably wouldn't go somewhere specifically to get it.
We have a place where I have had on one occasion, and the place is called Kobe Steakhouse, and so that was like their gig. They're I don't know what you call them, but the kind of place like a house of Genji. Historically is the one that I can recall where they have a big flat top grill and you sit around it and they do flare work and whatnot. So, yeah.
Teppanyaki restaurant.
There you go, Teppanyaki. Yeah, so House of Genji was like a chain that I can remember from when I was a kid. But yeah, I guess I'm a beef fan, but I'm not so much a fan that I would have to have Kobe or Wagyu more than once. It's good.
Yeah, the teppanyaki restaurants are fun, but you're going to smell like whatever they cooked for quite a while. So,
and potentially lose your eyebrows when they do that inverted rings of onion volcano thing. Yeah, leave it on that one. I do like the flare work though, and the percussion that goes along. The tapping of the different implements as they're preparing your meal, and as an interactive experience. It's a really good time. Usually, a really good time for folks to get around and have a good time playing with their food. In other words.
Gunmetal guy was answering G-Webs. Says, I've got limited flashlight experiences from different uses, be it work, car repair, light, hunting at dusk, or night spotlight hunting gave me idea of large light durability. Yeah, like I was saying, I don't know if you heard when you dropped. I've a bit of a flashlight junkie where I would buy on the cheaper end stuff that was kind of neat to play with. I've got my few which are basically my workhorses. Like I've got it's an older Maglite. I think it's a 2D 3. I can't remember. It's 3. It's over there. And they're reliable and I've had it for a while, and I've got a Cobb one, which it's the flat LED. So I think you have one. I think I saw one in one of your videos where it's got the long light.
It's it's like a mini fluorescent light kind of.
Yeah. That one's nice.
I actually try to buy one of them from everywhere I find one because I like them so much, and they're all so freaking different. And none of them are awesome, but they're all, some of the cheap things sometimes can be amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm noticing that with those, but problem is they don't last forever. So I maybe have 5 of those different ones now.
Mine's done pretty good. I've had it probably 5 years or so, but I'll use it when I need that light pattern for what I'm doing. And I've got a Ryobi spotlight, which does all right. It's not like turning on the sun, but when you need a lot more light, it does pretty good. I used to have, somebody stole them out of my car. I used to have a couple battle lanterns from Navy ships, the big yellow cubes. Those were great. They were great for lighting up a room. They wouldn't give you that direct beam, but it would broadcast across the whole room so you could see. And
what was that for? Like single into each other?
No, they'd be like emergency lighting. So they'd be in a cabin or something. And they're just big yellow cubes that were rugged as hell. I dropped it off a second story deck and it didn't even flicker. But when I got somebody broke in my car.
Not chemical or something.
Yeah, it was battery. It took one of the 6-volt batteries, one of the older big batteries. There was a surplus yard that sold surplus Navy stuff. I found it there. You used to be able to buy asbestos blankets from there also.
So when it comes to flashlights, what do y'all think about a primary cell versus a rechargeable?
I prefer one that takes batteries over the rechargeables. I do have some rechargeables, but if the power's out, you can't recharge. If you're away from, if you're out somewhere, you can't recharge. But you can just swap out the batteries in a couple seconds.
But if you've got the rechargeable form factors like AAA, AA, C's, like the normal, or I guess not C, but 9-volt, whatever that is, like you get those form factors in rechargeable, and then you get something like crank or something like it's a generator crank or like a solar panel, and then you just have enough batteries, and each day you're charging some, and some are in reserve, and then you're using some.
Yeah, we've got a couple of those crank flashlights that are the dyno that has the radio and the flashlight. We've got them packed away with our emergency stuff. I know you're talking a little bit different. That just reminded me of those.
Yeah, I'm just thinking something like a exercise bike that you could set in, not even exercise bike, but a cube with the bike pedals that you set in front of a chair or something.
Yeah.
You would think that would be like on every prepper's list, right?
When they came out, and I can't remember how long ago, but it's been in a couple of decades at least. These flashlights, they were kind of a as seen on TV sort of thing, where you would move them up and down. They had a coil system in them and a magnet in them, and that was a magneto that would recharge them.
Yeah,
I could never get it. Yeah, a shake one. There we go. I could never really get them to. They didn't illuminate very well. And go ahead.
That's the problem with the as seen on TV. The good stuff is 60% good. The bad stuff is junk. So, I've had stuff where the as seen on TV kind of stuff where I bought it because I thought it was interesting. And the good stuff that I bought was mostly good, but not great. And partly junk, to be honest.
I think I picked up mine at a parts store or something like that. Something that was in a tub. They're like $5 or something like that. I'm sure I still have it around somewhere, but it was, as you say, some of that stuff is worthless, and this thing was worthless from the day I bought it.
Wesley Foster was saying my Toomey 220 milliamp power bank lasts 48 hours in one charge. I'm amazed by it. My Nebo Mini CR123 R EDC is great for $25. I've thought about those power banks. We've got some of the smaller like cell phone charging ones, and I've thought about getting one of the bigger ones. I just haven't made up my mind yet. Wesley's also saying if you're gonna get expensive flashlight, probably go with the TLR8 Streamlight. And Gunmetal Guy is asking the Nebo Mini. Pink Panther's saying the Olights recharge with a C-type phone charger. My EDC light has a magnetic charge USB. Magnetically attaches to the plug to a USB. Magnetically. There we go.
Magnetically.
I don't know why I tripped on that one. I've got some of those type adapters for like my cell phone. You can see it there. They're nice.
Yeah, I wanted to get those.
But they're not. I've got a lot of them because they break.
Oh, really?
Yep. Let me pull this one out. It is nice. Here, I'll show it because you just get it near it.
Is it a data cable also?
Yeah. There's some that are charging only and some that are data, so you have to make sure you order the right one. But all right, my hands are going to be too big. Yeah, but kind of the junction where it meets this base plate and the mini USB, you'll get some movement and they'll end up breaking.
Which side is the magnet? The cord?
It's on the back.
So does that pick up
there is a magnet
chunks of metal in your pocket?
It can. This is magnetic, the cord, and I think this is magnetic also. Yeah, so they're both. I will get, like, sometimes you'll get little pieces of, like around my workbench, it'll pick up little pieces of metal sometimes. So I'll have to make sure, if it doesn't seem like it's charging right, to brush it off. And then for some reason, my daughter, this must give you a tingle, but she'll put it in her mouth, and it'll corrode the contacts. So there's nice, but there are some drawbacks to the those adapters. 2.
And you verified that it's not it's a real baby and not some kind of a robot baby that's charging when it does that?
Well, I saw it come out of my wife, so unless she was replaced while I wasn't watching.
Sure. We've all seen Terminator. There must be Terminator babies. We've all seen Terminator and we've all seen Baby Yoda. So I'm just putting 2 and 2 together. I'm just extrapolating the common math out of that.
She's just recharging. Yeah, Gunmetal Guy USA saying she's doing what we used to do with the 9-volt batteries. You put them on your tongue.
So for a while there, they were developing the tech of the LEDs and then figuring out ways to wrap them around batteries and casings and stuff so that they'd be useful. And, you know, experimenting with, everybody wanted them on their guns or whatever, and they weren't sure if they wanted to take them on and off. So, you know, when they went with dedicated weapons lights, that allowed the development of both dedicated firearms lights and, you know, a separate path for what I call, like, you know, individual lights. Then you went to helmet lights and you know, if you're wearing a bump helmet or some kind of night vision gear, and then, you know, how to attach it to there. And, you know, it took a while before there was kind of platforms for that. So anyway, that's when, at that time, I was still playing show and tell, and it was all being developed. So there was very little, like, copies or rip-offs. It was all just new tech in different directions. And it was, you know, oh, I think the batteries should be next to each other, for example, and then it'll have a different shape. And if the batteries are in line with each other, then it's the more traditional shape, right? So there was those kind of debates and conversations happening. And then it seems like around 2009, I'm guessing, somewhere in there, if I thought about it, I think about a better date. But, you know, at some point, the development stopped, and then it just became, oh, I can make, you know, let's say they figured out that a 2-cell 123, so having 3 volts out of both CR123 batteries gives you, you know, that can power like a 500 lumen light. So that's basically your Surefires, and nobody came up with a better arrangement. So that kind of stopped, and then everybody just started copying how you can stack 2 CR123s, and then there was a plateau there for, I'm going to say, till maybe 12. And then all of a sudden it was, oh no, you know what, you need 1,000 lumens or 500 lumens or however the order came. And that's when I was, like I say, I quit playing show and tell, and I quit paying attention to all the new models and stuff. But then I was still kind of going to training and watching the development of the classes and who was going to classes, and there was some shuffling of instructors and in curriculums and stuff. And instructors for these traveling classes, you know, they have to develop, they work up their classes. So they would come to Arizona and work up their classes, for example, and then they're working up the night class, or we're just out there at night farting around and it's nighttime and we got all these lights, then we're having these light demonstrations and things. And so that's when I started to figure out that the capabilities of the good ones. And that's when afterwards, like I say, they kind of plateaued in development, and all of a sudden it was just a bunch of companies copying Surefires, or basically, a bunch of companies making the same thing over and over, just cheaper, or maybe with a little bit different bezel or something. And that's when I just quit paying attention, and I figured, why would you want something that all they did is just copy whatever worked and then made it cheaper? There's no way they made it stronger. Like, none of these companies were saying, hey, we overbuilt Surefire. We took what Surefire did and made it indestructible, where Surefire only made it army proof. We made it marine proof. They all just said, hey, we made it for half the price, or we made it for, in copper color, or we made it in blue. So that's when I kind of stopped paying attention to them. And then, like I said, there was this transition to, like, I guess, an increase in the ability of lumens or LEDs or heat sinks or something. And it went from 500 was the most you'd ever need to here's what 1,000 can do. I think I talked about this in some chat with Gizzard, I think, the other day, where, that was amazing. Being able to see an entire bay at a range with a little flashlight that's the size of a 2 battery flashlight, 2 CR123s, is illuminating what used to be like a giant, flashlight you'd go run to the vehicle and grab. It was the whole game changer. Now your rifle could illuminate, left to right and 100 yards deep with just 2 batteries. And at that point, it was, again, like, everybody figured that out, and then it was just like, oh, I can do it for $20 cheaper. I can do it for $30 cheaper. And since then, I don't think there's too much, except for adding task lights to them. There hasn't been much development. But I don't want to disregard, I haven't been paying that much attention. There could be massive developments, and I just haven't seen it.
Yeah, I haven't tried any. I think the only, like, weapons light is the O-Light that I bought. It's about 500, maybe 600 lumens, which the gun it's on is mainly, inside defense. So I didn't want the super bright, which is almost too bright for inside. And it does, the 500 lumens range does fine for inside. It'll light up any room completely. And even outside does pretty good. Is when I did a review on it, I went out the backyard and kind of shined it around. It's not, it will not have the throw that like 1,000 does for outside. And that's for outside. One thing that kind of changed my view on, I used to keep a flashlight in my car, and there was a car that spun out on the highway, and it was dusk. So there's still some light you can kind of see, but it was getting dark, so it was getting hard to see. And my flashlight did not do a damn thing. You could not tell I had a flashlight. And that kind of changed there's definitely times where you need that extra power.
And that's when you need it the most, right? When all those shadows are being crazy and you got to worry about footing, and you got like a million other things that your head's worried about than where your footing is. You just want the flashlight to accomplish the task, overkill, be done with it.
Yeah.
It's the perfect scenario when it's transition between light and dark. You need to overpower. The other thing, I don't know if you can get to it, is when somebody else got a flashlight shining the other way. If your flashlight's bigger, then you see, and the other person doesn't.
Yeah, that's something I had not considered. And these are things that I hadn't. Just that dusk scenario. I had, you get a flashlight because it's dark. You want to see in the dark, but until I actually experienced where there's a problem, this flashlight does not handle this problem.
Like when it's pitch black, every flashlight's a winner.
Yeah.
Like, oh wow, you broke the darkness, awesome. But yeah, in those transition times, are you still useful? And that's awesome. I never even thought about that. And that would be a whole nother thing for target identification when it's dusk. What's the difference between blue and green? Some of those times you can't tell without extra illumination.
Yeah, and I thought my flashlight was fine. It was fairly bright, and everything I had tried it with was great until that one time I tried it where it was not great. So I,
So you're saying that you used to have one in your car and now you don't because of that?
no, I changed what I had in my car. I went with a
Oh,
brighter.
you got a bigger one. Okay.
Yeah, I went better.
In a vehicle, you've got the potential to get one of those, what do you call them, floodlight, something that attaches a big long cord to the car battery or something, or at least
Oh
can
yeah,
recharge off of the car, and then you carry something around that you don't have to be portable, or portable less than pocket friendly, right? Like you can have something that's technically portable, but you leave it in the trunk all the time.
yeah. I hadn't thought about that.
What about like chem lights and non-electric illumination? Glow in the dark stuff that charges up, or what do they call them? Chem lights.
I've got the chem lights. That you snap, the 2-part chem lights. I've got those. I don't think I have any in the car. I've got them in like our emergency pack. What's our emergency stuff? That's probably wouldn't hurt. I've looked at those puck style flashing emergency lights.
Yep.
Exactly. I've got reflectors in the car, but I don't have those puck lights. I'll go and look at them, and that's another thing where I'll want them and then just not, for some reason, not pick any up.
They're $75 a piece for good ones, but yeah. Hopefully they're cheaper by now. But I used to be a big fan of chem lights when I was a kid and stuff because they would seem cool. And then got onto the internet and paying attention to stuff and had them obligatory chem lights and everything because, they're chem lights. You should have them. And then started paying attention to cavers, spelunkers, people that go under the ground. And I'm never bothered with chem lights since. If I had some and I didn't throw them away, but I've never bought another chem light since I started on the internet. And unless somebody gave it to me or something, I wouldn't want a chem light. They're just extra garbage, and you're depending on something that ain't gonna work. So yeah, after I started listening to cavers, people that go underground who care about light, because that's kind of critical. They can't wait for light to show up in the morning or nothing. Chem lights are basically ineffective and often already expired by the time you go to break them. There's no way to test them, so they're just completely unreliable and nobody uses them. So you use them every once in a while for indicators, or think of like an emergency, like, I'm going to throw them out in the 4 corners of the area so that people know not to fall in the hole or something. Or maybe to identify a landing zone or something. But when you look at that kind of situation, you typically, if you pay attention, you look at like a picture of a helicopter, there's like 64 chem lights between the pilot and the co-pilot because they're constantly dropping them because they never work, so that even they know that they never work, or they get them big long ones so that they can break them like 4 times. Like there's redundancy built in anytime you see chem lights actually need to be depended on. So that's another indication that they're pointless. And they came up with all these LED versions of them. And I think that's not so much because we got nothing else to do than make an LED version of it, other than these things are basically pointless. And you have to have so much redundancy that your chem light, which was useful for some circumstance, ended up costing you 700 pounds or something, or 7 pounds instead of 7 ounces because you have to carry so many of them or something.
Yeah, in high school we used to cut them open and smear them on balls, so you play volleyball or basketball in the dark.
Yep. We used to cut them and then break them, cut them, get them all glowy, cut them, and then wing them so that it would spray glow in the dark crap everywhere, or like drip glow in the dark as it flew. And that was fun when you were a little kid. And you didn't pay for them. So.
Package says they're safe, so they must be safe.
It's like the stuff out of Mountain Dew and some hydrogen peroxide mixed together. And if they're blue, they're the Mountain Blue Arctic Blast mixed with hydrogen peroxide.
Oh, this was just a kind of a bonus track chat. Um, let me play this here since you're here. Where'd it go? There it is. Is that loud for you guys?
I mean, it's not quiet, but it's nowhere near like the blowing out the speakers like some of the pre-record things are from people.
Because I have turned the volume down on that twice, edited it to turn the volume down, and for some reason StreamYards will jack the volume back up. I don't know how that.
Maybe that's what's happening to people then.
I think it all depends on how loud our mics are compared to that video. Because you'll turn your volume up to hear other people talk, and then that plays that video at full blast, and it's way louder.
Oh, no, I see what you're saying. Like if we're all sitting here going like that's the whole show, and then you play that at normal volume, it's going to blow everybody out.
Yep.
So I know some of them were kind of loud, some of the promos and stuff. So I went in and re-edited them to try and quiet them down, and I can't guarantee how quiet they'll be. I don't, So I'm trying, and I apologize if I blow anybody's ears out. And we'll do the Wednesday night. This goes on.
Disco is dead. Disco is not dead. Disco is life.
It's the Wednesday Night Mouse Party. Wednesday nights at what time is it? 10:30?
10:30 Pacific.
So I posted on Instagram. I'm back on Instagram. So I've got a slightly different account. There's an extra T in there. So if you see somebody with untactical TFOS following you, that's me. I'm locked out of my other account. But I put up a post just before I fired up this chat. I bought a the house at Pooh Corner. I bought that from G-Webs actually off eBay. So he has his gearwebsites.com where he sells 2A patches and paraphernalia, and also has an eBay site where you can pick stuff up. And I picked up a 1955 copy of The House at Pooh Corner. I really like Winnie the Pooh.
That's what it's about.
Yes. I'm very careful to say I like Winnie the Pooh rather than shortening that, which sounds bad. And he threw in a couple patches. There's one of them glowed in the dark. So if you're perusing eBay, check out his site, see what he's got for sale. DJ, is there anything you want to promote?
Well, on behalf of Guns and Barbecue, I'd like to promote his programs. On his channel, you can find the Almost Nightly Firearms Expo on Tuesday nights, Wednesday afternoons, Thursday nights, and at least through the end of the month, he has barbecue chats on Saturday for the other portion of his namesake channel. And I guess beyond that, be safe, have fun, carry your guns, and rock.
Anything you want to say before we go, Baron?
I'm glad you clarified that was Winnie the Pooh, because I was really trying to figure out what the house at Pooh Corner was about. That's it.
Pinka saying Winnie the Pooh is 100% better than Amber Turd.
Yeah.
And then what he was saying is mini flashlight is Torchy. He named it Torchy. But just want to thank
actually,
you.
I do have something to plug.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
If you're interested in finding local 2A rallies, please visit this website.
rally.us.
I think I forgot the S. Spelling is hard.
You mean like it's plural, 2A rallies.us?
I think so.
And then that goes to a page. So if you notice that there's one missing or whatever, then let us know. And I think I've on that page, if I remember right, it's archiving the ones in the past. I try to delineate so that you don't get confused, but it's trying to archive the ones that have already happened so that we don't forget the efforts that have been made. And then at the top of the page there, right at the top when you hit it, whatever is current. I'm not aware of any that are coming up, but if you know of any, let me know. I mean, I shouldn't say that. There's like 2 coming up, but I'm not aware of many that normally would be happening. But if you're aware of them, let us know. It's the whole point, is to keep it current.
Well, I typed in 2A rally without an S, and it took me to gun calendars / 2A rallies.
Okay, that's good.
So try the 2arally.us. If for some reason it doesn't work, just start adding random letters in there and you'll get there eventually.
And if you get a virus, that is not my fault.
But before we go, we'll see if we can answer Gunmetal Guy USA's question. Can anyone recommend a good brand of head strap work light for working on small projects? I have no real experience. I've got a little clip-on one for my hat for fishing, but I don't even know what brand it is, or it's packed away with my fishing stuff. Anybody else have experience with
definitely is it Pelter? Or I got it sitting right here. I was actually using it the other day. Where did I put it? Are they Pelter? Or what's the name of them? But definitely, and again, Mom should say that I was a big fan of these ones. I'm sure by now that there's off brands, but a good headlamp is awesome. So is it?
It's a Pelican?
No, definitely not Pelican.
Oh.
It's
Pelter comes up with earmuffs.
I know they do earmuffs too, but no, it's not Pelter, but it's a company that it's like Oakley or something. They do a lot of stuff. Princeton Tech, that's what it is. Princeton Tech makes a good one, and then let me go grab it. Unless you guys can riff on it for a second, and
I'll show. Here's one that would probably give you the light that you need for small projects.
Holy
Something
moly.
like that.
Your head starts getting hot once you start using it for a while.
Speaking of spelunking, damn.
Looks like something a supervillain would wear. Spotlight Man.
That guy's nickname is Torchy for sure.
He puts it on strobe mode and just starts punching in the face. That'd probably work.
Let me.
So Petzel, I knew it had P in it. So this one is, I don't know, can't be that much. Probably around $20 ish, maybe. And this one is a little bulky because there's, I'm pretty sure these are 3 AAAs in there. And then this one is on, and then bright. You can bump it up to bright, and then so it's got 2 buttons up top. One button is cycle through on, and then the various levels, right? And then this one is a bump. So here you are, and you're bumping it, right? So that can be handy if you got this thing on task mode, you're working around the fire or whatever, and then, you know, just a quick bump. So temporary and then mode. So it's not like it's super tactical or whatever, but on the other hand, you've got it on, and now you can filter. So blue is to highlight blood for, you know, following a blood trail. Let me turn it off again. But there's, did it fall off? No. This thing here is a thing that holds the other filters, or another filter. So that's a diffuser type of filter. And then I think you can get a red, or it has a red button. No, this one doesn't have a red button. I could put a red filter on it, I think. So basically I could take this filter off and change it with a different color filter. And then the other feature of this one is it's a pretty comfortable strap. And this one is super old, and it's still got some spongy. So these are definitely made to be used, again, like life depending, or on top of someplace, you know, like conditions where you don't want this to fail at all. These are decent. But then the other option is once you got it strapped to your head, and it's big enough to go around a helmet or your head, once you got it strapped to your head, you can then angle it. And you know, like the cheapest ones, you don't really get to adjust, but this one you can adjust. And now it's, you know, if you're working on something with your knife versus walking versus searching for something, you know, that's where you get your intensities and then this angle. Now this Petzl, the company I was thinking of, I have another one where the entire thing wraps up to be smaller than this. So it's a watch battery and a small LED. It has a red filter in it, and the strap is more like a shoestring size, and it all wraps up into this pill thing. It's like this big. It's about the size of just that lamp on here, but the whole thing. And I'll carry that with me every time I go into any big building like SHOT Show or anything, because I definitely want a headlamp if I'm dealing with stairs and potentially using your hands for a kid or a dog or somebody else, or just anything you might need your hands for. Super nice to have a light. And for camping and changing spare tires or changing a tire or something on the side of the road, these things are super useful. So can't get enough of them. Petzl, pretty sure all made in the USA. Climbers and what am I trying to say? Cavers and those kind of people, hang gliders, Mountain Dew lifestyle people, they all use these. Cops use them, military uses them. Petzl, it's a brand I'd recommend.
So, and Wesley Foster was saying Wow Tech. He's been really happy with it. So hopefully they give you some ideas, headlamps to try out. And other than that, I'll say thank you. Want to thank everybody for being out in the chat, everybody for being on the panel for this bonus track edition. Other than that, hope everybody has a good Monday.
You still here? It's over. Go home.